Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode number 118 in the Gospel of John. If you knew you could not fail, what would you pray for? We're going to turn to John chapter 15, verse 7. Listen to the verse, two parts of it. If you abide in me and my words abide in you, ask for whatever you wish and it will be done for you. I'll say it again. If you abide in me and my words abide in you, ask for whatever you wish and it will be done for you. So let's break this down into the two parts. And we're going to get to what is it that if you knew that you would be answered, then for what would you ask? What would you ask for if you knew that your prayers would not fail? For who would you ask for? Who would you ask for if you knew that your prayers would not fail? Would there be a person? Would there be a situation? Would there be a moral choice of strengthening? Would you pray for his kingdom to come in a certain place? So this passage is about abiding. And the context of the passage, all of John 15 is about abiding, which is let's assess our abiding now. So if you assess the location of our abiding, would it make the test? Because we are abiding in something. We are investing in, trusting in, making a priority of, urgently relying on and desperately relying on something. Now, hopefully it's the Lord. Makes me think of the passage in John 6 where Jesus is doing some difficult teaching and people are leaving him. And he asks the disciples, do you guys want to leave too? And Peter says in 6:68, Simon Peter answered him, Lord, to whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life. So if you abide somewhere, Peter's saying, no, we're choosing to abide in you. So let's do a little assessment. If you are attached to the Lord in priority, in time, in service, in money. So in other words, these should be observable things. If I looked at your calendar, would it demonstrate abiding? If I looked at your wallet and your Venmo and your credit card, would it exhibit abiding? If I looked at your thoughts, would they recommend abiding? So if we assess the vigor of your abiding, would it make the Lord's test for this verse? This is his verse, not mine. If you abide in me, and my words abide in you, then we sort of get some benefits of it. So give me an example, as I'm asking you, give me an example and prove to me that you are abiding in the Lord. Give me an example and prove to me that his words are abiding in you. So ask first, am I abiding, actively abiding? We talked yesterday about it, about abiding is kind of an aggressive thing. It's abiding with effort. Don't be surprised that abiding involves effort. So abiding, we want to exert the efforts of abiding in worship, in fellowship, in service, and in awe. So one of our soundbites from yesterday was abiding is not for sissies. Well, what is abiding? It is the if part of this verse. It's the conditional part of the verse. It's the ongoing process of an ongoing relationship that happens after you attach to the Lord. It's that continual and observable effort of relationship building. So the priority for us, for many of us, is let's focus on abiding. Make abiding a priority in relational building. Make a place for his word. And let's ask. And the asking that we're going to do here is going to be conditioned on the genuineness of the relationship with God. Okay, so now let's turn our attention to the second half of the verse, which is the asking. Now that's conditioned on being according to the character and intent of God. If you are abiding and the lifeblood of his veins, the lifeblood of the vine is in your veins, then this would shape the requests and the desires that come out of your mouth and out of your heart. If I was perfectly abiding in Jesus, what would I be wishing? If I was in abiding relationship with the Lord, how might my prayers change in intensity or focus or direction? So we've talked about aggressive abiding, but here I think aggressive abiding yields humble, attached, respectful desires. It's moving towards what he desires, asking for what he did and would ask now for. So did Jesus ask for $1 million? No. Should we be asking for $1 million? No. Why is that? Because our prayer should be thinking the way that he's thinking, and he had other priorities. He had all that at his disposal, and yet he prayed for other things. So we need to think about what would Jesus pray using his model, repeating his words. John 14 already, last chapter, said, if you ask me anything in my name, I will do it. That is consistent with his character and his intent. So, in conclusion today, let me draw this to a conclusion. One of two things. For some, today is a call not to be asking for anything really, but really to be strengthening the abiding, working on the habits, exerting effort in the habits of abiding, attending, the habits of service, the habits of awe, the habits of worship, the habits of obedience. So, for many, today's call is a call to abide. Now, for others today, the call is to bridge the divide. That is, to pray, to use the relationship to humbly ask more boldly, more regularly, more numerically, for more volume, more area, more footprint for God, praying more. And for these people, I would say, if you knew you could not fail, what would you pray for? What would you ask for? If you knew that your prayer would not fail. And for many, that would be, who would you ask for? So in those people, my charge is, let's get busy. Thanks for listening.